there's a lot of groups out there that tell people reasons to try a vegan diet, but there isn't really one group that's just focused on supporting people who want to try a vegan diet. So that was really, the premise of veganuary.
Some apples and the cheese sauce with parsley oil.
So I use 2018 as being the baseline for plant-based, and I see 2018 being actually where the industry really put a stake in the ground within the UK market to say, okay, plant-based is here and let's get it going.
Every year, the numbers went up and up and up. And in about 2019, it really took a turn in that businesses in the UK started taking notice. That was the year Greggs brought out their vegan sausage roll for veganuary. And at that point, businesses realized there's a huge appetite for these products.
And if the Prime Minister can answer that question and show me that's just and fair, I'll buy him a vegan roll from Greggs myself.
Very good.
Veganism is boomed massively. Was the first catalyst was corn. I'd love to say that it's because we've created this movement. Yes, we've all as a vegan movement pushed it, but unfortunately the world works on money. And as soon as corn sold to Exponent for 330 million, they injected 7 million, sold to Montanissen in the Philippines for 500 million. The city woke up and went, what, a vegetarian thing?
And the last few years, it's been about a third of participants who've said, I'm actually going to stay vegan now after dipping my toe in the water for a month. And the number one reason why they choose to do that is it's easier than they expected it to be. And then of the remainder, about 75% say, I'm not going to stay vegan, but I'm going to cut back by at least 50%.
In the first few years, we were easily seeing 10 to 12% growth across meat alternatives and dairy alternatives. Dairy alternatives is actually faring better. I think that's been one of the success stories within retail has been dairy alternatives. In terms of stagnation, I think there's different hypotheses. So what my personal perspective and stance is actually the first few years really met vegan unmet needs. So as a vegan, 4 years ago, 5 years ago plus, you were really challenged to find products in retail stores, and a lot of it was scratch cooking. So since then, we've been able to service vegans very well in the UK market. So I think that created the initial boom in sales. Now we're starting to see, okay, well, things are starting to flatline a little bit. So I think it's interesting because we get to a point in industry where we see the market settle a little bit.
Billions of animals that have been exploited for the environment that is so affected by the effects of. It's going to be very important for all the vegans around the world because this is the first time that a country legally kind of accept that veganism is such an important belief that needs to be protected. And of course, vegans are the same everywhere in the world. The animals are the same everywhere in the world. Discrimination is the same everywhere in the world. So that will be good news because they know if it happened here, it could happen there as well. And I expect that will be more cases in other countries.
We're seeing the biggest growth in signups in the Latin American countries, which is really encouraging. We got YouGov to look at the UK since we started in 2014. And they found that about 9% of the British public have actually taken part since we started. So that would be about 6 million people in the UK, which is just way more than the number who have officially signed up. They want to experiment, and they want to try cooking more from scratch, and they want to try new recipes now that they realized actually there is a whole world of food out there I can experiment with.
We should probably start thinking about plant-based as being driving the health and sustainability agenda and meat reduction agenda versus necessarily driving vegan agenda. It's important that we service vegan needs, but it's also important now that we really start focusing on health and sustainability of the food system.